This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Unusual to see me holding this style of guitar, I know. This is a lovely little Squire Strat that belongs to a mate of mine called Colin, who dropped it off this morning for me to make this video with. Thank you so much for the loan, Colin. I'm kind of on record as saying that I'm a bit meh about Strats, and I've sort of hinted at this in various videos about how I came to be meh about, Fender's finest. But I thought I'd just kind of put it into a little bit of a video today. I tell you what, before we get into it, let's take a little bit of a look at a piece of music. It's just a solo that I knocked together a little while ago that is sort of a bit of a metaphor for my journey from Strats to where I am now. And as usual, you'll find a full tab for that piece of music in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it and the jam track to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. Just $3 or £3 a month and you get access to all of these tabs and jam tracks and all the other good stuff that accompanies these YouTube videos. I have just introduced a new Patreon tier for $6 a month, where you get a twice monthly Zoom call with me and one or two other benefits that I'm still kind of working the details out, but watch this space, more news to come. But either way, thank you to everybody who supports me in the Patreon manner or any of the other ways, all of which are downstairs in the description. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes. If you dial the clock back to the 1980s, I was a dyed-in-the-wool Strat guy before I even realised that, I was such a thing. It was just the 80s was very much the Strat era, and the Super Strat, of course. I bought a Les Paul Deluxe, a knackered Les Paul Deluxe, it has to be said, for peanuts when I was at college in the 80s, because Les Pauls were just terminally unfashionable. Everybody wanted a Strat. Everybody wanted some variation of a Strat that possibly had a pointy headstock and a humbucker in the bridge and all the rest of that sort of stuff. You know, the 80s super Strat sort of thing. And a gig that I've mentioned a bazillion times on this channel was the Carl Perkins Blue Suede Shoes rockabilly session kind of thing, where he had all his celebrity chums come out and do a turn, including Eric Clapton, who was still playing his famous Mongrel Blackie Strat at the time. And if you're not familiar with that gig, I can't believe you aren't familiar with it, but if you're not, go and check it out. It's on YouTube, bits and pieces of it all over the place. And Eric's sound on that gig is probably the best Strat tone you'd ever hear. And I just immediately I thought, that's the sound I want to make on the guitar. You know, all the kind of that kind of, I mean, as you probably gathered, bridge and middle position here, that quacky, out of phase, as it's called, sound, I just thought it was the most magical thing ever. And of course, you know, it was the 80s. Dire Straits were just probably the biggest band in the world. So there was all of that kind of... and other sort of ham-fisted Knopflerisms that I partook in at the time. Yeah, Strats. The Clapton used one, and I was a huge Clapton fan, still am. Knopfler used one, I'm a huge Knopfler fan, still am. And, you know, who could possibly want a muddy, dark Les Paul kind of tone that didn't do this? You know, and then fast forward into the 90s, I was a little bit late to the party, but I discovered Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, and the sort of brass knuckled kind of Texas blues sort of. Yeah, I played that so badly, I don't think I'm at risk of violating any copyright. But, you know, that kind of Texas blues, usually neck pickup or sometimes middle pickup. Where's my volume gone there? Yeah, I do apologise. My fingers are not cooperating at the moment. But you get the idea. That sort of Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of thing. Knopfler, Clapton. It's just the Strat was the centre of... it was the pinnacle of the guitar universe, really. It was just the ultimate evolution of the electric guitar. And that was the way I thought until about, it'll have been probably about 2007, 2008, when I bought one of these, not a Faisley Outlaw Coyote Plus, which is what this is. Great little Telecaster copy, by the way. No, I actually bought a Telecaster just on a whim. It was just like... I just fancy a Telecaster. You know, when you just get that kind of that sort of unexplainable gassing for a guitar that you can't really rationalise. Well, I just fancied a Telecaster. I bought the Fender Light Ash Telecaster, and as soon as I picked it up, it was like, oh, this is it. You know, I think I'd grown a little bit bored with the Strat. I used to have a job. Working when I was a student in the 1980s, used to have a job working in a fish and chip shop, and part of the deal was I got a free meal every day. So fish and chips, sausage and chips, burger and chips, fish cake and chips, fish patty and chips, steak and kidney pie and chips, minced and onion pie and chips, chicken and mushroom pie and chips, and then rinse and repeat, you know. And it was about 18 months before I could face, a chip shop meal again. I'd sort of sickened myself a little bit, kind of got bored with the whole Strat thing, I think, and got this Telecaster, not this one, but got a Telecaster, and suddenly it was like, oh dear me, yes. Perversely, just the slab-edged body. I mean, who was it that described a Telecaster as a chopping board with a neck and pickups? I just found it just a little bit more comfortable. It just seemed to be a little bit more stable and less kind of likely to slither about in my lap. But, you know, then, you know, that kind of, that sound, again, it was a sound I'd sort of got switched onto back in the 80s, you know, that Telecaster bridge pickup sound. Let's see if I've got the right tone dialed in here, which is famously present on. Bit too much gain there. Not enough gain there. Bruce Springsteen's Darlington County. Like many people, I pretty much got turned on to Bruce Springsteen via that Born in the USA album. I know he has his detractors, but, you know, he's had, how long's his career been now? How many decades? He's released a few duff albums, but show me anybody in that time period that hasn't. But I still like Born in the USA. Anyway, that guitar tone on the start of that track, it sort of lodged itself in my mind. And then as soon as I got a Telecaster and that sound was coming out of my fingers, oh dear me, this was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, I still owned a Strat at this particular point, a couple of different Strat style guitars, but it was always, you know, the Tele that I was picking up because it was just that sort of, that kind of iconic bridge pickup sound, and then, you know, you go to the neck pickup and it's... And that's enough of that. I don't need to be paying royalties to Brian May. So, yeah, I just became absolutely enthralled to the wonders of the Telecaster. The other thing that I found about it was that I used to love all three positions on the pickup selector. You've heard the bridge, you've heard the neck, then in the middle you've got... I think one of the most beautiful kind of combined pickup sounds on any guitar. And I became to, I sort of got so that I preferred that over the sort of in-between positions on a Strat. On a Strat, I never used to use the bridge pickup because I always found it too harsh and brittle sounding, you know, which any Strat that I ever had over the years always ended up getting a humbucker in the bridge position. The middle position was always a little bit, well, you know, occasionally the Stevie Ray Vaughan sort of stuff, but that was mainly the neck pickup I would use. And then once you've kind of got bored with the position 2, position 4 out of phase sounds, you're not left with a hell of a lot left, but everything on a Telecaster, all three positions of the switch are, I just think, well, I love them all equally, and that sort of marked my my beginning of the love affair with twin pickup guitars, which culminated with this guitar here. Yeah, I've always loved the idea of a single cut, a Les Paul of some description, and the idea of one was always better than actually owning one. And as I say, I bought a pretty beat up, knackered Les Paul Deluxe when I was at college in the 80s, and ended up cleaning it up a bit and trading it on. And then in the early 90s, I had a Les Paul, you know, Gibson Les Paul. It didn't have like a kind of a stripy maple top, like a butt match top. But I don't think. But it did have like a burst finish, just with a plain top, a bit like this, but with binding and stuff. So I'm not entirely sure which model it was, but it said Gibson Les Paul on the headstock, and. Then that had to go because I was a little bit skint, basically. And then in the intervening 30 years, I'd buy a Les Paul copy, an Epiphone, a Harley Benton, a Vintage, and one or two other brands as well. And I'd love it for about a fortnight, and then it would be just the novelty would wear off, and it was suddenly, you know, surplus to requirements and would get sold. I'd go back to either the Strat, if I was still in my Strat phase, or the Telecaster. But this one, I just decided to give myself a little bit of a treat a few years ago. You know, this is my trophy guitar. I don't mind admitting that. I did have a little unfortunate visit from the cancer fairy, and after I'd kind of finished the treatment and kind of come through the other side of that, I thought, yeah, you deserve it. So I got this, and if I could only play one guitar all the time, it would be this one. It's nice and versatile. You know, you can set the neck pickup up for like a nice clean sound. Like that, or clean enough for, you know, kind of strumming kind of chords and stuff. And then you can just flip to the bridge pickup and go thrang. This becomes the channel changer on your amp, and I just love that versatility. So, you know, this Les Paul this single cut is unlike any of the other ones that I've had over the years. This is the one that the novelty didn't wear off, and as I say, for practical reasons, I do need something with single coil-ish kind of sounds on there, so that's when I'll usually go to maybe this guitar, which I've talked about on the channel many times. Again, Telecaster based, but you know, with humbucker sounds built in, and it can get very close to this. But if it was just me and I didn't have to kind of spend big parts of my time teaching strummy open chords to beginners, which this guitar isn't really the best suited for that, then if it was just me pleasing myself, I think this would be the number one these days. Absolutely love the bones of this guitar, and you know, thinking back to how I used to view the Les Paul back in my days when I was a Clapton, Knopfler, Stevie Ray Vaughan devotee. You know, the Les Paul, it's a big beefy sound, and it does one thing. I remember saying this to people, you know, Les Paul, it's great for what it does, but it only does that one thing. What utter rot I was talking back then. So there you go. That is the story of my evolution, if you like, from dyed-in-the-wool Strataholic through to the devotee of the humbucker-equipped single cut with a set neck. If you've got a similar story, then let me know in the comments down below. I'll be massively interested in hearing if you've gone in the other direction. Maybe I know that happens when people you know, love a Les Paul and then suddenly find themselves graduating more to telecasters and stratocasters, and maybe even, you know, kind of offsets and stuff like that. So if you've had a similar evolution, a similar journey from one style of guitar that you absolutely loved to another style of guitar in the way that I have, then, as I say, down in the comments. But that's the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed my ramblings on the topic, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and many, many other things. It's a fantastic, I think, way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.